Family, what's going on? It is Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate you guys being here. Today is Friday. It is August 1st. Can I get a roll tide inside the comment box? Today we're talking about the Ryan Grubb press conference. I'll play it. I'll give you my sound bites to what Ryan Grubb said and kind of elaborate a little bit on what the first-year offensive coordinator had to say. I appreciate you guys being here. Definitely get inside the comment box. Let me know where you're watching from. I appreciate you guys being here. Alabama does not have practice today, but they'll be back in action during the weekend. So news as it happens. I think kind of, from the jump, in retrospect, thinking about Tank Jones yesterday, look, I mean, first of all, congratulations to him to be able to be in a spot where you have Oregon, Texas A&M, Alabama on your offer sheet. I mean, that says something about the kid. That says something about the in-state prospects from the state of Alabama. And to be honest, I don't think that this is 100% over. I think it'll be over in signing day. And I'm going to say this, okay? Look, I love the kid's highlight tape. I like how you even played on both sides of the ball. But I feel that it doesn't take teams long to lose momentum during the season. So, anything could happen. But until these guys are officially signed, I don't think it's over. And I will say this, too. I think that Alabama continues to recruit him. How could they not? In-state guy, not that difficult to go, travel and see him play to continue to show him love. So we'll see what happens. But don't be too discouraged by Tank Jones not committing to Alabama yesterday. I know he kind of took it on the chin, but I think going forward, everything will be okay. Yesterday, Ryan Grubb spoke to the media. This is a guy who is so polished, and I do think that he's going to be a head football coach, whether that's in college or who knows. I can't tell the future, but the NFL. But he certainly exudes kind of that leadership, and so happy that he is finally here. Remember, this is a guy that Coach Saban wanted to be in Tuscaloosa, what was that, 2022, something like that? So here's Ryan Grubb. He's talking to the media yesterday. We'll open it up right now.
Good. All right. So you guys said it was hot down here. Huh? You said it was hot down here. I just spilled some water on myself. Okay, who's up?
How does the offensive line look in terms of pulling and getting out in space and blocking moving targets?
They're doing a good job. We've done, if I'm being really honest, a limited amount of it right now just because we're not in pads yet. So trying to avoid some of those collisions till day 3 when we're in pads. But they did it all summer. They're doing it all spring, and I think it's a weapon for us.
Talking about the offensive line, I think, we know what's coming back with the offensive line. We're excited about it. We're curious to see, who the true starting five will be when they go against Florida State. And, it's either going to be Cam or Geno Vandermark at that left guard position. And as I have been talking, the tackles, at least the two deep tackles, look to be Michael Carroll and Jackson Lloyd. There might be another guy that sneaks into that race, but I do think that is exciting and something that I want to continue to follow. Of course, you have Caden Proctor returning, Parker Brailsford. So, offensive line, we're in a good spot right here. We continue.
With the offensive line, obviously, appreciate guys all over the front, but Parker's been such a steady force since he came here.
Yeah.
Talking about Parker Brailsford. I know sometimes you can't hear the question, but he's talking about Parker Brailsford, the next reporter.
Worked with him for a number of years. Just what kind of a pro is he each and every day at practice?
Oh, well, you said it. I think he's one of the guys on this team that he gets it. He knows the preparation and the type of demeanor he's got to have every day, and he's super consistent. And I know everybody on the team knows they can count on Parker. Just demeanor, mindset, practice habits, physicality. He's ready to go every day.
That's Parker Brailsford. I mean, a returning All-American. I mean, the guy played in over 600 snaps last year. I think, what did he allow, like 1 sack or something like that? He is way better than I thought he would be. I have a question for you. Who do you think will be the two deep at center? And kind of when you look to the future of the center program, where are we at? Parker Brailsford did a hell of a job. This guy, you talk about like a nucleus coming back at the center position. Absolutely him.
It's nice to have some scholarship tight ends out there.
Yeah, it's just tight ends, period. Like, I don't know if I'd have been that picky, but, yeah, it's great. Seeing those guys run around. Josh has been out there running around. He looks awesome. Danny Lewis has got some reps. Even Caleb getting a few more reps. So, yeah, it's been awesome. Good competition in that room right now.
Talking about the tight ends, and he's referring to in springtime, most of these guys were banged up, right? I mean, all the guys. I think there was like one scholarship tight end that was available during the springtime. So he mentions Josh. He mentions Danny Lewis. Danny Lewis, out there, and probably a guy that we haven't talked a lot about. But he's a vet. He's been here for quite some time. I would imagine if they ran a 12 personnel set today, that's 2 tight ends. It would be Danny Lewis and Josh Cuevas out on the field. He did mention Caleb Edwards. Now, Caleb Edwards, 6'5", 265 pounds. He's one of the two freshmen that came in along with Marshall Pritchett. Now, we loved Marshall Pritchett from what we saw, just a small sample size on day one. But you know what? To be honest, Caleb Edwards has been turning my head. I was kind of wondering. I was like, what is this guy all about? But at 265 pounds, I've seen him he's been moving out there. He's been catching the football, tucking it, getting upfield. So I don't know, maybe kind of that future of the tight end position is, a little bit more dynamic in terms of playmaking.
What are the biggest differences you see in Jeremy's game approach, demeanor, compared to when he's at Washington?
Talking about Jeremy Bernard, he said what's kind of his demeanor and if it's changed, since he's seen him at Washington, now at Bama.
Just probably confidence is one of the big things. Jerem was a young player learning from some really good veteran receivers there with the Dunze and McMillan and Polk, and so Jerem's the kind of guy that's very respectful, is a good gatherer of information, understands how to be a pro, and has worked himself into a really big leadership role on his team.
Jeremy Bernard, think about the guys that he's played with. He's played with, Dunze, like you said, the other guys at Washington. Now he's played with Isaiah Horton here, and, of course, Ryan Williams. So this guy, has been around some incredible wide receiving talent, and that's only going to elevate your game, right? They say iron sharpens iron. Can you imagine just route running, kind of seeing the work that goes in behind the scenes? And I've mentioned this before. You look to how Jeremy Bernard, man, the guy is like Diesel, right? He's really put on some good weight. That's the big three here at Alabama. Ryan Williams, Jeremy Bernard, and Isaiah Horton. I think that probably Jeremy Bernard is second on the team in receptions, I would imagine. And he probably, wide receiver, true number 2. So really good to hear an update on Jeremy Bernard. And, that guy, he's probably underrated, to be honest. Jeremy Bernard's a good one.
How big is that leadership for some of those younger wide receivers? How do you see him kind of mature in that?
Yeah.
How big is that leadership for the younger wide receivers from, having Jeremy Bernard here, Isaiah Horton, who is a vet. He played a lot last year at Miami, and Ryan Williams now.
Yeah, all those guys. I think Isaiah has done a good job. Ryan, certainly for a young player, growing into that mold for sure. But I think Jerem just the demeanor you got to have, especially during camp and things like that when there's a lot of running, and get yourself used to football shape fast and just being able to tough through stuff. Jerem really can help mentor some of the young guys and even take on bigger, longer installs, things like that, not let it bog you down.
What have you seen from Jalen Hale in that position coming back from his injury?
Talking about Jalen Hale and coming back from his injury, this is a really good soundbite right here.
Jalen's amazing. He's one of my favorite stories. I mean, what he's been able to come back and do already, and even from spring to now, the difference physically, how he looks, it's just, honestly, it's probably one of the more inspirational things that's happened on his football team.
The wide receiver room, there's so many storylines, right? Like sometimes I like to break it up per player. And Jalen Hale, man, this guy, the injury was nasty, okay, to the leg. And to see where he's at right now, he's back out there. I don't know if he's at 100%, probably close to it. That just shows you. I'm telling, and I've talked about, the support staff. Jeff Allen, he's been there for 18 years, so he's probably seen it all. That injury was pretty nasty, but to be able to get this guy back up to speed, to add another piece to that already loaded wide receiver room was just incredible. So we're all pulling for Jalen Hale. It's one hell of a comeback story. As Coach Ryan Grubb said, probably one of the better comeback stories from the season.
What have you seen from the running back room, guys like Jam, Richard?
Talking about what he's seen from the running back room, Jam, Richard, those guys.
They all have different skill sets. Jam, again, another one of our leaders on the football team. Jam's super smart player, good hands out of the backfield, really physical. He's running pretty strong at 220 right now, with good top end speed. Daniel's your bigger back downhill. Him and Rich are that kind of guy. And then Dre Washington's a guy that's really showing up the first 2 days that I've been really impressed with his vision.
Okay, so said a lot right there. Coach Ryan Grubb says a lot of things, kind of in condensed form. Jam Miller, he said that he's 220 pounds. Man, when I see Jam Miller out there, he doesn't look like 220 pounds. He's put on some good weight. I think last year he probably played at like 212 or something like that. And he also mentioned that he catches the football really well. I have noticed that too. Every single time I see Jam Miller out there catching the pass, the guy has really good hands. He's caught a couple touchdown passes during his career at Alabama. Good to hear. He also mentions Richard Young, says that Daniel Hill is kind of the downhill back at 244 pounds. Man, how do you think Alabama's going to utilize Daniel Hill? Can you imagine like a heavy package? outside of goal line, you're like, yo, let's go with Daniel Hill. All right, got to feed him. And then he also mentioned, this is probably another interesting update, because I'm curious to see how they use Draylen Washington. And Coach Ryan Grubb said that he's been, interested, or Washington has impressed him these last couple of days. He's a redshirt senior, I believe, that, is a transfer. He's got some shake. He's 5'9", 216. So maybe they figured out a way to get him the ball, but it sounds like he's coming along pretty good right now in fall camp.
What's the biggest thing you're wanting to see from the running backs this camp?
Biggest thing you want to see from the running backs this camp?
Man, good question. I think, the big thing, I think all of them have their own style of running that they're pretty darn good at. But I think the pass protection, the consistency in understanding their rules and things like that, I think everybody's playing catch up to jam, so making sure all those guys come along and get there. And Coach G does a phenomenal job, getting those running backs ready for that.
Another big update. Everybody's playing catch up to jam. That's how far Jam Miller is. And I mean, look, I get it. Guy had, over 140 carries last year, had the most production. I think he probably could have had 200 carries. So, yeah, he's a veteran coming back and super, super underrated in college football.
What have you seen out of Rico Scott?
Oh, Rico Scott. This is great. He's talking about Rico Scott. And yesterday, as you saw, I think it was Jeremy Bernard who told reporters that Rico Scott ran 23.5 miles per hour. To put that in perspective, someone put it out there on X. Tyreek Hill, right? Cheetah ran 23.5 in full pads. So I don't think Rico ran that in full pads, but still, fast is fast. That is Rico the Rocket. Here's Coach Kayla. Here's Offensive Coordinator Ryan Grubb.
Rico, young player. His body transformation from now, even from this winter when I got here to now, he's become, I think he was one of the guys that hit the top speed this summer. So one of our fastest guys on the team. Super physical player, willing to run through people. And then the level of detail he has in his route running for a young player, and the versatility he can play inside and outside, he's going to be a presence this year.
How hard?
Yeah, I love that update on Rico. Hey, while you guys are here, remember, we got a raffle. It's a gigantic raffle. I'm not playing with this. $25 to get in. You can get in as many times as you want. We got 2 tickets. Alabama versus Wisconsin. It is the second home game of the season, 11 a.m. This is the view from the seats. Really, really good setup right here. Section E, row 61. Saturday, September 13th. I'll give you the tickets the day before the game. That's when I get them. So 2 tickets to Alabama versus Wisconsin, $25 to get in. And how to get into the raffle, what you do is you go to $25 as many times as you want to Bama_YouTube or Cash App Bama YouTube at the bottom of the screen. Super chats work as well. We will spin the pinwheel next Wednesday to see who wins the tickets. So we continue with Coach Ryan Grubb.
Is it going to be to kind of narrow down that rotation?
It always is. You want to have a deep,
The rotation at wide receivers.
talented room. We certainly have that at Alabama. So, for us, it's just going to be who are the guys that are able to consistently do the same thing every day, make the play, make the tough catches, block. It's a prerequisite to be able to block to play wide receiver here.
I love that. So blocking, I think, is sometimes underrated as a wide receiver, but one of the great things that the wideouts did from 2020 right to 2021, 2019, 2021, those core wide receivers we think about, those guys block downfield. I mean, if somebody was breaking a run, you saw Devontae Smith downfield stock blocking. You saw the guys breaking loose to go get a safety way up top. So he said it's a prerequisite, meaning, look, you want to play wide receiver here, you got to get dirty and you got to block for your running backs or for another wide receiver. Love to hear that. Good soundbite.
What are the differences you've seen between the different quarterbacks?
What are the differences you've seen between the different quarterbacks?
Ooh, how long do we have? No, I'm kidding. All these guys, I think they're in different levels of their progression as quarterbacks in college. And I think that all of them, just like any position, have a lot of different strengths. I think that right now Ty is continuing to show a ton of command. I thought he did a better job today than the other 2 guys with that. So he continues to progress as a leader, and Keelan's ability to see the field and just his vision, his innate ability to make a play, even potentially when there's not one there, is a really, really high level. And then Austin just has elite arm talent, a big guy that's strong and can power through things.
I'll show the quarterbacks throwing here after Offensive Coordinator Ryan Grubb speaks. But, yesterday it really stood out to me and I get it, it's against air, but man, the way that Keelan's ball just comes off is just quick. And like you said, Austin's got that big towering frame, and Ty has, the experience and, the mechanics. So like our quarterback room for sure.
What's your biggest message to that room? I guess that's
Quarterback room, consistency,
Biggest message to the quarterback room.
take care of the ball. You got to be a guy that can move us forward. I think, one of the biggest things that we're stressing right now is minimizing negative yardage plays. Starts with us, making sure we got the right mic points on protection or run scheme. So make sure the ball is moving forward and the O-line's on the same page, and then, making great decisions with the football.
Great decisions with the football, right? Don't turn the football over. Know when to, absorb it. Know when to take off. You got to be able to look over your progressional reads. One's not there, 2, 3. Got to be able to see the field if you want to be the quarterback here, specifically with all these weapons that they have, right? Can't have open wide receivers. This isn't a video game, right? You got to be able to see the field at its entirety.
How does Ty Simpson go from the guy who, if he had to start a game tomorrow, would be the guy to being the guy who's just period the starting quarterback?
I love that question. He says, what does Ty have to do to be the guy? Like if they actually play Florida State, because right now he'd just be the guy to be like, they played Saturday, but I like this.
Do it every day between now and Florida State. When we start that preparation, and just whoever that person is has got to come out and be able to show that it's clearly him. And that's what this football team needs. And all three of those guys know that. And so I think being able to show up and do that every day and not waver in and out of the type of player he is, the type of decision maker he is, the inconsistencies that a young quarterback would show, or a quarterback that's not ready to start. So as long as Ty can do that, or one of the other guys, that's going to be the player that's going to start a quarterback.
For you personally, to experience the pro game for a year, how much did you feel like you grew getting to spend that time in Seattle?
Oh, a ton.
How much did being in the NFL and the pro game kind of help his overall game?
A ton. I think any league, right? Like you move from the Mountain West to the Pac-12, Pac-12 to SEC, SEC to the NFL. I think there's different type of coordinator families, different type of coverage structures and things like that people run through conferences and areas of football. So I think, from that standpoint, you're just getting used to attacking different types of defenses.
Coach Kalen DeBoer said that, he really thinks that Ryan Grubb gained a lot from being in the NFL. Can you imagine just a 1 year, your first year going to the NFL, how much you're going to learn? You talk about football, it's a game of speed, right? And you go to the NFL, you learn so much. You were just at Washington. I bet you this dude has so much more knowledge and experience. And I bet he's so much more confident right now from going to the NFL. Yeah, it didn't work out the way that he wanted. It worked out to Alabama's benefit. But I bet you he learned a ton in the NFL.
Coach, can you speak to the development of a young player like a Larson Brooks or Marshall Pritchard? And can you just talk about how important this time is, getting into new installs, spring, summer, fall camp, and
Yeah.
things of that nature, stuff like that?
Asking about some of the younger guys like Lazier Brooks, Marshall Pritchett, how important it is for this time in terms of development during fall camp.
Yeah, the reps are vitally important. I think that's one of our things that we put a lot of time into as a coaching staff. Our position coaches do a phenomenal job. As a full staff, we do a big time, effort as far as trying to find ways to make sure all these football fields are out here getting used and guys are getting reps. And, you can learn in the room, you can watch the film, understand all that, but you got to take reps. And that's the only way you can learn and truly grasp the offense. So walkthroughs, reps on the field, and just intentional coaching all the time is really, really important.
What about a guy like Caleb Edwards who just got here?
Mm-hmm.
How have you seen him?
Caleb Edwards, what have you seen from him, the tight end?
So Caleb, I think a big thing for him, a guy that's not a mid-year guy, he has to have a good summer. And he certainly did. And so I think that's one of the benefits that we have is that the amount of interaction that we're able to have with our guys in June, and just understanding that amount of time is limited but valuable. And then throughout the summer, just staying in the playbook and understanding and studying and being ready, because basically you just got to be able to speak the language when he gets here, in fall camp. And if he can speak the language, he's got a chance to be able to execute. And Caleb's a bright kid that's been able to pick it up really fast.
He's adapted well to
Great. He's been awesome. And, we'll find out how awesome on Sunday when he has to smack somebody with pads on, but I'm excited for him.
In an ideal world, when would you like to have a starter figured out at quarterback?
Yesterday.
When would you like to have a starter at quarterback named? He said yesterday. So I thought that was interesting, because he clearly wants a starting quarterback. He wants somebody to, grab the reins.
yesterday, if I'm being honest. But you got to let it run its course. It's not there yet. And we've been through this before more than once. And you just got to let it run its course. We got a pretty detailed plan on how we'll figure those things out and the information that we share with the guys every day. And when it's the right time, we'll be ready to pull the trigger.
Yeah, you got to. I still, clearly there's nothing to indicate to us that it's not going to be Ty Simpson, but until they officially name a guy, there's still a competition here.
Coach, with kickoff being 30 days exactly from today, has there been a sense of urgency from any of the guys, anybody in the locker room speaking up, anybody on the coaching staff speak to that as well?
I'll be
Kind of a sense of urgency about Alabama going into year 2.
honest, is one of the things that impressed me since I got here. I feel like the sense of urgency probably was sparked a little bit as a result of last year's record and things like that. But I've felt like the sense of urgency since I've got here has been really, really high. And the right players are speaking up, saying the right things to try to, not just talk about it, but enact some of those things and try to follow through with it.
What kind of progress have you seen from the left guards, and what are you wanting to see from them?
Left guard competition, Geno Vandermark and Cam Dewberry.
Yeah, Dewberry and Geno have been battling out over there primarily. And, both those guys, Cam has done a really good job of being mobile and physical at the point of attack. Geno is a super savvy player, can play all over the place, can snap a ball, play center, play guard, and I think the physicality piece is going to be a big part. Playing next to KP, obviously, takes a little heat off of them just as far as, where they're at. But also, you can look at it in terms of it might put some pressure on them too, because that's the side of the ball where we're going to want to be able to be aggressive and go after people.
What have you seen from Wilkin Formby, and is he taking command at right tackle, or is that pretty wide open there?
Wilkin Formby.
I think right now he has. I think he's done a good job. I thought he had a good spring and played through some injuries and is getting healthy now. And I think he's done a good job. He's a smart player. He's learned how to play with the strength that he's acquired. I think he's a much more physical player than he was last year. I think he did, ton of work with Coach Ballou as far as changing his body type.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, that was an interview from Thursday with Coach Ryan Grubb. Coming up next, I'm going to go over the footage, break it down a little bit. I'll start with the quarterbacks on this other side. I just want to point out a couple things that stood out to me and also talk about the running backs. So that's coming up next right here on Bama Football on YouTube. I'm going to take a quick commercial break. And remember, jump into that raffle right now is a really good time to get into the raffle. $25 to get in for the ticket value for this is $543 for 2 tickets for Alabama versus Wisconsin. There hasn't been a lot of people that has jumped in, so now is your perfect time how to get in. Venmo, Bama_YouTube, Cash App, Bama YouTube, and we will spin the pinwheel on Wednesday. Be right back right here on Bama Football on YouTube.
Did you know that Bama Football on YouTube can be streamed on your TV? Yeah, that's right. Just go to your TV, type in YouTube, and pull up Bama Football on YouTube. Watch Kyle Henderson, Ryan Grubb, Kalen DeBoer on your 70-inch Vizio at home. Yeah, just type in Bama Football on YouTube.
We'll be right back. All right, we're back right here now talking about the film that Alabama sent out yesterday. And I start with the running backs. I said I was going to start with the quarterbacks, but the way that the video works out, it works better for the running backs. Here's Jam Miller right here, and then you're going to see the other running backs. I'll detail them, who they are for you. But as we were talking about, this guy is 220 pounds, catching the football, turning it upfield. That's what you want to see. This is Richard Young right here, number 9. The guys, the running back room is really top tier. You also have, this is Daniel Hill, 244 pounds. Man. This is Dre Washington, number 20. Man, he's fast, right? Catch the ball, turn it upfield. That's Kevin Riley right here. You're going to see A.K. Deere in just a minute, but just kind of giving you a sample of the running backs. Man, this room is loaded, top to bottom, from Jam to AK Deer. Now, everybody's chasing Jam, as offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb said, but you're in a really good position. A lot of it is because of Robert Gillespie and just the experience that you have coming in. Who's running back number 3? Well, I think it's Daniel Hill and Jalen Washington. There's AK Did right there. And I think that means that situational football, right? You're in the red zone. You need to ground and pound. You go with Daniel Hill. You need a screen or something like that, a big play. Maybe you bring in Jalen Washington. Maybe he just has kind of that extra gear. Richard Young, we saw flashes of him last year. I think he's going to be really good, by the way. So, yeah, the running back room, think about it. On a scale of 1 to 10, where are we at with the running back room right now? Is it a 10? Is it a 9? Is it an 8? Do you need to see more production? I don't know. But in terms of, like, the overall depth and the quality of depth, man, I think Alabama is in certainly a really good position. And I love the fact that all these guys are healthy and good to go. Let me go to the quarterbacks. Let's see. All right, so something that stood out to me about the quarterbacks is, the guys are throwing. Look, it's on air. I get it. This is Nick Sheridan right here, quarterbacks coach, and here's Ty and here's Keelan. Just watch Keelan. Watch them both, obviously, but like the quick throws from Keelan Russell just to the outside. I'd probably say it's like 15 yards out. It impressed me. It stood out. Let's see. Let's see what you think. All right, there's Ty. Throws a ball, catchable ball, right tight end. You see? Just like, bam. All right, here's Keelan again. Good delivery, right? Outside. Again. I don't know. It looks just like a tight spiral that has a little bit of good, some velocity on it, right? Am I like, look, I'm not trying to start. That was a nice catch right there by Jan Miller. I'm not trying to start a war. I'm just pointing things out that I see. That maybe I'm overblowing it. I don't know. That's a really good ball right there by Ty Simpson. I just want to see like zip, pop. I want to see lasers to the outside. Catchable balls that only, tight ends, running backs, wide receivers can catch, right? Throw a catchable ball that is on point with delivery. This is offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb. That's kind of a cool hoodie that he has. All right, more footage. Keelan Russell. And look, these passes right here, they're just on air. There's Jalen Hell, by the way. You can see the brace. Let's see. See this brace right here? Let's see if I can pause it. That's a pretty heavy-duty brace that Jalen Hell has right here, right? And these passes should, they're just, light little floaters into the breadbasket. They're not throwing a pass like this during the season. Otherwise, it's a pick six. But in terms of just like, getting into the breadbasket, that's where you want to be. That's Rico the Rocket right there, number 11. Here's Ty again. Yeah, you're never going to throw something like that during the season. There's Ryan Williams outrunning a support staff member. And another pass right there to Cole Adams. Oh, good to see Cole Adams. Nice pass out there by Ty Simpson to Jeremy Bernard. I think we have some clips of Austin Mack, but this is like the footage that comes in from the university, right? So this is the footage that we can work with. And it's good footage, by the way. So anyways, there's your, quarterbacks. So that's our Friday show. I make sure to turn on all notifications on our YouTube channel because I'm posting a lot of videos right now. And if you don't hit the bell, which includes all notifications, YouTube only sends out 3 notifications per day. So you might miss out on some content. Also, check out our Facebook page, Bama Football on YouTube. Post a lot of content there as well. I hope that you guys have a beautiful Friday. Alabama back in action on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So I'll have coverage. I'll have videos that come in. And, of course, Monday we back at it with our live show. So enjoy, your Friday. Enjoy your weekend. News as it happens right here on Bama Football on YouTube. We pulled in the Natty last night. We were able to beat Oklahoma. So we got in the Natty on College Football 26. I appreciate those for those of you that watched. Remember to get into the raffle. 25 to get in. Venmo, Bama_YouTube, Cash App, Bama YouTube. Super Chats work as well. And other than that, I'll catch up with you soon. Coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama on this beautiful Friday, August 1st. Wake up, wake up, wake up. It's the first of the month. Kyle Henderson, Bama Football on YouTube. See you, fam.